Nigeria is anyhow country. Like, why does Nigeria like to disgrace the country? Why does the politician like disgracing Nigeria? Because I don't get it. You know it from the beginning. You knew that Nnamdi KANU, you were never going to release him. So why charge him to court? You knew, the federal government of Nigeria knew that they were not going to release Nnamdi KANU. Then why did you charge the man to court in the first place? You should have killed Nnamdi KANU when you arrested him initially from Kenya. Why taking him to court? Because in 2022, they gave the first judgment through appeal court that Nnamdi KANU should be released unconditionally. The federal government disobeyed that order. What does that mean? It shows that the country is a stupid country, that the judiciary is a useless judiciary. Even the government that took him to the court, they are very, very stupid and very useless. Like, this is an international case, a case that has international interest, and you know quite well that this man, you were not going to release him, no matter the outcome of the court judgment, and yet you still took him to court. Is it not to make a mockery of yourself? Is it not to make a mediocre of yourself? Because it doesn't make sense. Why will the court pass sentence on someone? The court is a grand norm. The court is the highest authority in the land. Now you still carry and go to the same court. APC and federal government, you are still the person that carried Nnamdi KANU to court. And from the beginning, you knew it, that whatsoever is the judgment of the court, that you're not going to obey it. You knew it, that you want to jail him, you want to sentence him to life imprisonment, and you still took him to court. Now that same court passed the first judgment in 2022 and asked you to free this man unconditionally. You disobeyed that court. Why are you now obeying this current order that is asking you to sentence him to life in prison? The first judgment was to free Nnamdi KANU, Nigerian government. Why didn't you obey that judgment? Then after obeying it, you can now file an appeal in the higher court, or you go to Supreme Court to challenge the judgment of the current court that freezes him. But you kept him. Is that not a murder on judiciary? Is that not? In fact, Nnamdi KANU should not even have been to court, because immediately they passed that first judgment on him and you refuse to obey it. That nullifies every other judgment. Because according to the Constitution of Nigeria, once a court passes judgment on you, it must be obeyed. Now see how they rush to send him to Sokoto prison. It is the same day. In fact, the next day, it was not up to 24 hours that federal high court passed the judgment, the life sentencing judgment on him. It wasn't up to 24 hours. They obeyed the court order immediately. Piam! They run speed, obeyed it. Piam! And they sent him to Sokoto prison. That same judgment, that same court, the court of appeal that gave you judgment to release him, why didn't you obey that one first? That is where I have a problem. Why didn't you obey that one first? The speed that you rushed in obeying this sentencing, this is life sentence order, this judgment to sentence him to life imprisonment, the speed at which Nigerian government complied to that court order, they sent him to Sokoto prison in less than 24 hours. Why didn't the federal government obey the first order of appeal court? That order that says, look at it now, that order that says free Nnamdi KANU unconditionally. Why didn't you obey it first? Obey it first. You should have obeyed that order first. Then you free the man, obey the court order, let him go. If you now want to arrest him again, re-arrest him. If you want to re-arrest the man again, you will now go and re-arrest him again. But that judgment of the first court must be, it is a must. It's a murder on judiciary, a murder on democracy. This means that immediately the appeal court passed that judgment to release him. Order came from the court DSS and told DSS, don't release that man, hold him there. They used their gun and blocked court order. DSS used their gun and blocked court order. The lawyers of Nnamdi KANU shouldn't have honored this second case on federal high court, because go and obey the first judgment. That is how it is done. Go and obey the first judgment before you now start again. If you want to rearrange that person, you go and arrest him afresh, then start the case on another court, because this court judgment is done and dusted. That is why Nnamdi KANU is in prison now. Is in Sokoto prison. The lawyers of Nnamdi KANU, they have filed in an appeal court. They have filed a suit in an appeal court. But the judgment that is already currently being passed is being obeyed because the constitution. You must obey that judge, and that judgment said send him to prison for life imprisonment. Send him to life imprisonment. So even if lawyers of Nnamdi KANU are appealing in the higher court, even if they are appealing in the court of appeal, that judgment must be obeyed. That current judgment must be obeyed. So Nigeria, why didn't you obey the first judgment that said free the man, free him? Is it not the same court that passed the same judgment? Biased country. From the beginning, you know it that you are not going to release the man. Very biased country.